Hello everyone, here we are again, and today we are going to assemble the new OpenRC Tractor tool, the water tank, okay? We're going to fill this with water, okay? And we have a pump here, and then we have some LED lights I'm going to show you right away. So first of all, before assembling it, we're going to test the electronics, okay? To see if they work and how they connect. So let's start with the pump, for example. You'll need to solder a couple, red positive and negative cables here. And I'm going to use this male JST connector. So I'm going to connect this to this cable on the tractor. And this goes inside the tractor to this speed controller. Okay, because I have here two speed controllers. One is for the tractor itself, and the other one is for the pump. Okay, it's basically the same speed controller. I think one, if I recall correctly, one has brake and the other has no brake. The difference is that you have to make a pause between changing forward and backward. Okay. For the tractor, it's good that it has brake, but for the pump, it's okay either way, because you're just going to need one position, or on or off, but you don't need to reverse, okay, the pump. So that's the speed controller for the pump, the water pump. So this cable goes inside the tractor and is connected to this pump. Okay, now let's connect also the LEDs. You have to make something like this. I'm going to show you in the water tank. It's just two 5mm LEDs, and then this is a JST male connector. Okay, it's like a Y cable here, because this is another extra spare that I did, but I have already inserted this with a drop of hot glue here. I think as you can see, with two LEDs here, LEDs. These here are white, okay, they inside them, and the red ones are these ones. You can choose the color, and then I have two different cables, male cables, to connect to this switch, okay? Remember, all the materials are in the bill of materials spreadsheet, so you're going to find links and descriptions there. So this is just a switch. This is the one I tried. It has two channels, okay? This goes to the receiver, okay? This goes to the battery, and these two channels goes to the LEDs. So I'm going to connect one of them to the white LEDs and one of them to the red LEDs. Okay? Okay. Now, you're going to need to connect this to a battery. You can use the same battery as the tractor, I have it here, but then you'll need an extra cable inside of the tractor. As I didn't want to disassemble the tractor again, I used a very small battery here, but it's quite enough for this. So I'm going to connect this battery here, okay? And that's the power for the switch and for the LEDs. You don't need a lot of power for that, just there are 4 LEDs. And this is going to go to this cable that comes out of the tractor. Remember, white cable with orange cable. Normally white cable is the data cable. And this data cable that comes here is connected to the channel 5 of the receiver. Okay? Okay. Now, we're also going to connect the battery. I'm going to leave it here. I don't need to cover this now. And I'm going to take the radio. Okay, so here we are. Let's start the radio. And let's connect the tractor, okay? So this is the tractor, and we have in channel 5, we have the pump. Okay, so let's try if it works. Oh, it still has water in it, but it's okay. So as you can see, that's on and off, on and off. That's perfect. Okay, it works perfectly. And now for the LEDs, in this switch, it's not, it's not the best one maybe, but it works. But you cannot, for example, flash the LED lights. So I'm going to test. It works like this: one, and then they are on. Okay, then you go back to neutral. Then another one. They both work. I think you can see red and white, and with another pulsation or another on-off, then they switch off. Okay, so one for one kind of LEDs, one for both them, and one to stop them. So that works. Now that we know it works, we can switch off the tractor, and then let's begin with the assembly itself. Okay, so let's start. You're going to need different M3 screws, nuts, and okay, I have these mini wrenches here, and also a 2.0x screwdriver. So there is not one particular order, but I suggest, for example, you leave the wheels and the suspension for the last things, because if not, it's going to be difficult to access. Okay, so let's start with the assembly. For example, let's take the chassis, and we can start with this. I call it, I think, cable channel. It's just, a place here to put all the cables. Also the battery is going to go there, and also the switch. So we're going to use different, sorry, here they go. This I think is 18 or 20 millimeters long. They go directly here. Remember, when you screw directly to the plastic, don't over tighten them too much. Okay, now here the front tower goes here. I already inserted 2 M3 nuts here, and then we're going to use this. This is also 18 or 20 millimeters. Okay. Okay, so we have this part. Okay, now we're going to continue with the pump support. It goes like this. We're going to first use, I think these are 18 or 20 millimeters long. That's okay, either both of them, they work. Okay, now I have already inserted nuts here. Okay, that's very good. Now, for example, we can go with the pump itself. First, we're going to insert this cable. And then perfect. Okay, the cable comes out here and here. Okay, perfect. Now here we can use these 12 millimeters. That's okay. We can use longer if we want. Okay, let's continue with, for example, the hook, okay. We're going to use a M3 40 millimeters long screw. Then we're going to go like this, and then we're going to use a little spring here, and then okay. This has some rotation because when the trailer can go like this with the tractor, and also this kind of suspension when it starts to move. Okay, we have the hook here. Now we're going with this. These are just some kind of clips to keep the cables in place. I'm using M3 6 millimeters long screws. Okay, perfect. Now we're going to insert the cables here, and also we can add the remote switch for the lights. Remember that we have tried it before to see if everything works. This is also going to be through this hole. Okay, and we're going to connect, if we want, we can do that later, okay? We'll leave the battery for later. You see here, I've added some square holes because if you want, you can use this zip tie to secure cables. Okay. Okay, we can cut it later. Then you can secure, and also here and here, and also with the battery, if you want, you can put it here. Or if you have a bigger battery, you can also put it just like this and use, some strap to hold it. That's going to be okay. In this case, it's easier if you want to connect and disconnect. You just have to add this, but let's leave that for now. Okay, let's go, for example, with this, this is just to make it look more real. And I printed this. It's just a piece of plastic with this shape, but I printed with no top and honeycomb interior infill. So I think it looks good. We're going to put it like this and insert the screw here. So I'm going to do both sides is the same, okay? So this one and this one, this is with a gas, okay, tank, and this with the hose support, okay, here. It's exactly the same, so I'm going to fast forward it. Okay, we have secured these two parts. Now, we're going to need to insert a nut here, okay? And we're going to put the handle here, okay? Perfect. Okay, so that's the handle here. Perfect. Okay, now let's go with wheel. I'm going to assemble a wheel first. you have different suspension options. Okay, you can use just this spring. Okay, that's okay. You can use just the shock absorber here, or you can use both spring and shock absorber. So I'm going to use both, but let's leave the shock absorber for now. This is going to go like this. It's better to insert this first, the spring, because if you turn it, it's going to be quite easy. Okay, and then you can turn it and put it in place here. Now we're going to use M3 35 millimeters long here, and here we'll need a nut but with lock, okay, nylon lock nut. Okay, remember, do not over tighten this too much because it has to have some movement, but don't leave it too loose because then it's not going to work properly. Okay, so now that's good. We're going to use these bearings for the wheels here and here. Okay, but first it is better to put the fenders, because if you put the wheel first, it's going to be more difficult. So let's go with some nuts. First, I'm going to insert a nut here. Okay, that's it. I used, I think, 8 millimeters long M3, but it's okay. You can use here 10, 12, 8. That's okay. Now we can go with the wheel. So I'm going to insert the bearings again because they fell. Now we're going to need this wheel with the M3 40 millimeters long. Okay, and we're going to need these spacers here inside, because if not, the wheel is going to, touch this part. Okay, so let's insert here, and then we also need a lock nut here, nut with a nylon insert. Okay, and we're going to need this Phillips screwdriver and some mini wrench. Again, don't over tighten too much, but don't leave it. It has to spin freely. Okay, I think that's okay. Okay, now for this part we're going to insert also, the shock absorber. Remember, this is optional. You can do it just, if you don't want to buy them, it's okay. Remember, though, don't over tighten this too much. Okay, that's perfect. I think we have a wheel here. It's working pretty good. Looking good, working good. Okay, so I'm gonna do the other one. Okay, we're almost there. Just a couple of things. Here, the gas tank cap. Okay, now the sprinkler goes here. Okay, but first we're going to insert this. Okay, now this is going to go here. Okay, now the sprinkler goes like this. These are M3 12 millimeters long. You'll need to insert here 2 nuts. Okay, one is already there. I'm going to insert the other one. Okay, this goes like this. Now, 2 more things. The plates, there's a hole here if you want to use some plates, that's optional. Okay. Okay, so now the tank itself is, it just, you have to connect this hose here. Okay, and then it goes just like that in place, and use some screws here to secure it in place. One here. Okay, and also one here. Okay. Now, you can also use a zip tie here if you want for the cables. Going to be more tidy. Okay. Now there's only one more thing, is if you, okay, it's optional if you want or if you think it's necessary. If you want, you can link both arms together. You can use a printed part, it's also in the design, and you can also use this connector. It looks good, so I'm going to use it to connect both here. Perfect. Okay. I think suspension looks good. And that's it. I think everything is done and ready. I think it looks good. You just put some water in here, connect everything, and I'll show you some action of the tractor. I think looks really good. Suspension worked good. So hope that you liked it, and hope to see your pictures of your 3D printed OpenRC Tractor water tank. So thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.